Hi, I welcome you back into the series of developing spiritual virtues. And today we look at renunciation, that is tyag. Simple meaning of renunciation. It does not mean leaving home, wearing saffron outfits, becoming poor, or rejecting worldly things artificially. Real renunciation means not being attached to temporary material enjoyment and using everything in the Lord's service because nothing belongs to us, everything belongs to the Lord. So we work, learn, have responsibilities, use technology, live with family, and still be renounced internally. Real renunciation is giving up selfish attachments and not necessarily giving up activity, basically. Let's look at renunciation and purification. Real renunciation is not actually possible without purification of one's consciousness. Now, what does that mean? It means as our heart becomes purified through the process of chanting, meditation, prayers, spiritual association, and devotional service, the attachment gradually reduces naturally. Now, without purification, renunciations becomes artificial and super difficult. But when consciousness is purified by all those activities that I mentioned, one naturally loses attraction to lower habits and unnecessary material cravings. Thus, purification and renunciation, they both grow together simultaneously. Seeing God's participation. Actually, if you go to see, a saintly person recognizes God's guidance in life. Situations are not meaningless accidents. He sees them, that it is arrangement of God. Therefore, a person on spiritual path learns to see the lessons in them, the mercy and the protection in the experience that he is getting in the various situations of his life. And he comes to know that everything is orchestrated by the Lord. Next, coincident mentality. That's the thing. Modern society often says everything is a coincidence, but a person on the spiritual path sees deeper meaning in life and the Lord's hand behind everything. Thus, coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. This understanding increases humility, gratitude in the heart, surrender, and eventually renunciation for a sincere person on spiritual life. Practical understanding. Now, renunciation means using things without becoming controlled by them. Means what? I use things, but I do not become controlled by them. The problem is not money, it's not comfort, it's not in all technology, possession, or success. The real problem is becoming obsessed by them, greedy, developing false ego, and attachment to all of these. Thus, a renounced person can use material things responsibly without being without becoming spiritually lost in them. So let's look at everyday example. Simple example. A person may own a mobile. Now attachment means constantly checking it, becoming restless without it, comparing with others, wasting hours endlessly just scrolling. But renunciation, on the other hand, means or looks like using your mobile whenever it's needed, remaining balanced and not becoming controlled by it. The object? If you go to sea, remains the same, but consciousness is different. Let's move further. It's like lotus flower. The lotus flower, it grows in the muddy water, yet the water does not stick to its petals. Similarly, a saintly person lives in this world but tries not to become deeply entangled in it, like greed, lust, ego, envy, and endless material cravings. This is practical renunciation. So there is a story of the hunter Mrigari. Mrigari enjoyed cruelty in hunting animals. But when he met Narada Muni, his heart changed. Now, through spiritual guidance over here of Narad Muni, this Mrigari, who was super cruel to animals, he stopped cruelty. He became purified. He began chanting, developed compassion in his heart for all living beings, and renounced his violent lifestyle. This shows that even a hard hearted person can transform through genuine spiritual practice, like Mrigari, the hunter, who became a chanter. Thus, real renunciation comes from actually transformation of our consciousness. Why renunciation is important today? Like these days, our modern society constantly teaches us or constantly is bombarding on us. We need more, we need to buy more, consume more, own more. Like it's more, 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 more. This creates so much of anxiety, so much of comparison and dissatisfaction, greed, and eventually a person is dragged towards material exhaustion. The mind never feels satisfied because material desires keep increasing, 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 increasing. It's like a itch. There's no end to it. So renunciation brings simplicity and inner freedom within one's heart. Real renunciation is actually internal because external simplicity alone is not enough. True renunciation is freedom from lower natures of ourself like pride, greed, envy, selfish attachments. Real renunciation, as I said, is basically in consciousness, not in external things. What renunciation does not mean. A saintly person does not renounce responsibility at all. His kindness, his family duties, or honest work. False renunciation means lazy and artificial spirituality, which is very obvious and it doesn't last for long. True renunciation means doing duty without selfish attachment. Now, why attachment causes suffering? We'll look at that. Because temporary things eventually change, leave, or disappoint us in some point or the other. And attachment creates anxiety, possessiveness, anger, insecurity. But renunciation, on the other hand, creates peace of mind, balance, and acceptance of wherever the person is situated. Let's look at some benefits of renunciation. So first of all, we look at spiritual benefit. In spiritual benefit, a person who practices renunciation sincerely first deepens his devotion, better concentration in his spiritual practices like meditation, chanting, Then he reduces his material distractions, and his faith becomes strong, and he gets spiritual clarity as the time goes by. Next is on mental platform and emotional benefits. Mental and emotional benefits, like there's less anxiety, less comparison, there's emotional balance, there's contentment, and freedom from endless craving. We have seen that in our previous slides. Let's move further. I'm sorry. Practical benefits. In practical benefits, a person benefits by not wasting energy, making wise decisions, handles losses better, and lives life more peacefully and balanced, and is able to tolerate things around him. Let's move further. Now, how does one cultivate renunciation? After that, we have seen what is renunciation, what is not renunciation, what is a practical example in these days. Let us look at how to cultivate it. First thing first, practice need over greed. Before buying or consuming something, ask yourself, do I truly need this? And I have practiced this myself. I go shopping and I pick stuff in my trolley, and then when I'm billing, I am, cross checking in my mind, do I really need this? And so many of the things I see, I have unnecessary, just maybe seen an offer or has just got attracted, and I put it in my shopping trolley. But at the billing till, I remove them. Next, reduce overconsumption, like too much scrolling, too much shopping, binge watching, and endless stimulation, which is there these days around us. This weakens the mind, and therefore we have to practice moderation in all these aspects of our life. This reduces, this is how we will cultivate renunciation step by step. Next, use everything in the Lord's service. Like instead of rejecting the world, use things positively. Example, take for instance our phone. You can use that for spiritual learning, spreading spiritual wisdom around people, money for helping others in need who are less fortunate than us, then home for peaceful atmosphere. We can create our home in such a way that the atmosphere is always peaceful and conducive to practice spiritual life. Next would be practice gratitude, contentment, our process of chanting or meditating, and spiritual association, which impacts our consciousness so much. These are the practical ways of cultivating renunciation. Yukta Vairagya. Yukta means skillful, and Vairagya is like renunciation. So, skillful, what is skillful reaction? We use everything for Lord instead of rejecting everything artificially. Real renunciation is balanced, intelligent, and purposeful. Wow, this is so deep. Next, renunciation is freedom. Healthy renunciation brings peace, clarity, inner freedom. The less controlled we are by our own cravings, the more peaceful the mind becomes. We can look at a famous example of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He used books, traveled, he used money, he used technology in Lord's service. He didn't say no for nothing. He welcomed everything because he knew he would be able to use that in Lord's service, whether it was money, whether it was technology, traveling, everything he used in the service of the Lord and glorifying His Lord's name. This is genuine renunciation. He didn't say, no, I don't want money. No, I don't want to travel. I just want to be in the holy place and do my spiritual practices. No, he accepted every single opportunity, every single material thing that he got in Lord's service in spreading his name, Lord's name. This is actual, true, genuine renunciation. Now let's look at one line summary of what all we have spoken in the past 15 minutes. Renunciation means living responsibly in this world while remaining externally detached from selfish material attachment. Thank you for being with me till the end, and I see you soonest.